All right. So thank you both for jumping on today. So today's training is all about database cleanup, and just going through the different ways that you can do that within Command. And so I'm going to give you some tips and tricks and things like that. And then towards the end, I'll talk a little bit more about the DTD2 system, as well as just a couple of other smart plans that are great for follow-up. So these are things just to help you create systems when you are reaching out to your database. So bear with me as I share my screen here. And let me know if for any reason you can't see my screen at any point. Okay, so I'm going to start in contacts. And I have, here's my database. I did filter out a lot of agents that I had in here with their phone numbers and email addresses. In the past, YouTube will always block my database trainings because of that personal information in there. So any phone numbers and emails, I just want to put a disclaimer, these are fake. Anything that you see in here, I added some fake contacts in my database in order to show you guys a few of the things that we'll be training on today. So just wanted to point that out there in hopes that YouTube does not delete my video off of our YouTube channel. So anyways, I wanted to first start out by just saying when you are working on a database and uploading it into Command or really any CRM platform, there are 5 key pieces of information that you want to strive to get. And that's going to be a first name, last name, phone number, email, and mailing address. Those you can think of as the 5 main pieces of information that you want to get for each individual person. Of course, any additional information is great, such as their birth date, home anniversary date. So after closing, make that part of your process, your post-close process, and update the contact once they close. Update the mailing address, and make sure that you're doing that so that it updates that information. It also ties into their neighborhood, what market data they're receiving if you're sending out that monthly neighborhood nurture smart plan. So different things like that. So to start out, so we have the list of contacts in here. And you can see I've got, some different columns in here, tags. The great thing about Command is that you can really personalize your view within your contacts. And you'll do that by clicking on Customize Columns. So you'll see all available columns that you can display on the main screen here. And then you can reorder them. So maybe I wanted to include, let's just say, date of birth. So I can check that off. That's going to show here. And I can rearrange these. So maybe I want phone, email address, birthday, and tags. So it's just a matter of clicking and dragging these around to change up the order. And then I would hit apply once I'm done with that. And then you'll see those shown in here. Anytime that you change that, you want to make sure that you're saving the Smart View changes. So the default view is to show you all of your contacts. But if you change anything like those columns and you see this teal button at the top, Save Smart View Changes, that's just saving your default view. So I'm going to click on that. So anytime I go back into my contacts, this is the view I'm going to see. These are the columns I'm going to see. The other really important thing, and this is personal preference too, but I feel like most of us prefer to see all of our contacts by just scrolling down. And that's where you want to click on the show 1 through, maybe you have it 1 through 10 right now. That's really the default with any Command account. I always go in here and I up this to 500, which is the max you can see on one screen. So if you have anything under 500, That just means that you're going to be able to scroll through your entire database on one screen without having to flip over to the next page. So same thing, if I were to change this, I would hit Save Smart View Changes. And I'm going to keep it at show 1 through up to 500. So those are just a couple of kind of the basics when you're configuring your view within your database in your contacts screen here. Now, anytime that you want to edit a contact, you'll simply click on their name. That's going to take you to the contact detail page. Now, the left-hand side is really all of the contact information for that contact. The left-hand side is the activity, the history of the communication with that contact, if they're tied to any transaction or opportunity within your command account, you'll see that here. If they're set up on any smart plans, which are essentially those marketing follow-up plans. If you have a task assigned for that contact, any notes. Notes are really great to utilize if you wanted to add, let's just say, if I click on add note, I could put spouse's name or maybe children's names or pets' names. Those are going to be great areas to add those notes. Yeah, Tanika, do you have a question?
Yes. So I'm on a team. When you were just showing how to change the view and things like that, is there a way? Because when I open it up, I see the whole team's all their names. Can I save it where when I open it up, I only see my contact names?
Yeah, you should be able to. Let's just do, because I have a team account in my command as well. So are you seeing like this tab up here, all agents, or, and then you're seeing everyone's database?
Let's see, search. Wait, I don't even have all agents. Mine goes from
Okay.
search to filters and then smart view.
Okay. And that should be normal. That's because I'm technically the rainmaker of this team. That's why I see this drop down. So when you say you're viewing all, like, is it all of your contacts, your like contacts in that team database?
Yes, there are names in here that I know they're not mine. They have to be somebody
Okay.
who's on the
Mm.
team.
Typically, the way that it works is you would only see the contacts that you own or are assigned to you. So maybe there are some contacts in there from the team that were assigned to you.
Mhm.
Um, you could always click into the contact and see who the owner is. And maybe like my guess is that you would show up as an assignee or a collaborator. And that's why you're seeing them in your command database.
Yeah, I just opened one up and it says the assignee is Ivana, who is on our team, and collaborators, it doesn't say anybody. So,
Okay. Interesting. And who's the owner?
all in our team name, all in real estate.
Okay. Interesting. I wonder if it has to do with your permission level. You might have enhanced permissions where you're seeing like the entire database instead of just your own. I would talk to the rainmaker on the team and
Okay.
see how your account is set up and your permission level because that sounds to me like maybe your permission level is just a certain way and that's why
Okay.
you're seeing those.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. All right. So let me just click back into one of these contacts here. So yeah, I just had mentioned adding a note. You can add activities in here. Adding activities are going to be for, if you sit down with them for coffee or if you called them or texted them or sent them any sort of note or mailer or anything like that, that you just want to keep on file in terms of like your communication and the history of that communication. So I can put in here, maybe yesterday, met for coffee, add in whatever notes you want for that description. Maybe you talked about listing their home in the spring, but you'll see that history then under the timeline. Notes, I was just going to show children's names. Jeff and Erica, because that's actually what, sorry, I used friends and office characters, so there we go. So again, notes is great for just anything additional. Children's and pets names are kind of the go-tos that I always reference, especially when you're making your monthly or quarterly calls to your database and you need to refer back to any information. This is kind of like the information hub for that particular person. All right, so anytime you need to edit a contact, you just click on that little pencil icon and I'm able to go in here and make any changes. Add more information. When you click that button, you'll see additional contact information. That's where you would update their home address or enter that in. I'm just going to add a random address in here. But you'll see as you start typing something, Google Maps automatically populates it and you select it so that you don't have to type in the whole thing, which is pretty nice. It defaults to select it as same as mailing address. I think 9 times out of 10, you're going to leave that as is. But you can add a lot of other information too, such as links to their social media profiles. That's a great piece of information to include. If you are making your quarterly calls and their name pops up on your list to call and you don't really know what to say to them, you can look on their Facebook page and see, oh, did they just go on vacation? Did they just have a baby? It's allows you to kind of get that additional info to start that conversation with them. The about section, you can add in their birthday, their home anniversary, link relationships. So if I wanted to link their spouse, if they're already in your database, you'll be able to search for them and then just add that relationship. So I can save that. Now, if I scroll down, I'll notice that because I added that address, it automatically populated a primary neighborhood. Now that information, again, it's tied to that monthly neighborhood nurture smart plan. And if I click preview right here, it's actually going to show me essentially what that market update is going to look like for that contact. So because it's a smart plan, it sends out this automated email to that contact with this information. And they would be able to click links in that email to get to this page. So it's going to show active listings for sale, school info. They can add in transit and commute time, so they can add an address. Nearby neighborhoods. So they can click and view other neighborhoods. But that's what that section is all about. And then at the bottom, I can see that relationship. So because I linked the spouses, I can also click on this contact. It's going to take me into her contact detail page. And there's that relationship again. All right, any questions so far? We'll get into some more specifics here. So I want to move into filtering and tags next. So it's especially important as you are cleaning up your database that you are going through and you're adding and updating phone numbers, email addresses, and mailing addresses. And so one thing with the columns here, I can see, like I can visually see who I'm missing a phone number for, who I'm missing an email and an address for. The other way to do it is if you click on filters up at the top here, and then I have all of these filter options, which are really, really nice. If I wanted to filter by a specific tag, and tags I'll get into in a second here. If I wanted to see, okay, who did I last contact? Who's set up on a smart plan? Whose birthday's coming up? I can do all of that. But there's also an advanced filters section. And this is really nice because I can choose, let's just say email. So I'm going to choose primary email. And here I'm going to say is empty. So I'm looking for any contacts where the primary email is empty. So I'm going to hit apply. And that's going to bring me to my list of contacts that I'm missing an email address for. And so this is where, let's just say I did have a phone number for these people. I could just go down this list and send out text messages or call them up, have a conversation, and then mention, I'm updating my database. I'm about to send out a market update email. I'd love to have your email, or I'd love to have your mailing address to send you some market updates based on your neighborhood. So just a couple different ways of how you can go about cleaning up that database and adding additional contact information. And you can do the same thing for phone numbers. So I could change this to primary phone is empty, or sorry, is empty, and vice versa. You could do is not empty. So if you wanted to set those contacts up on a quarterly call plan, you could do that as well. But it just gives you good visibility into, okay, who is on my list for updating their phone number, their email, who am I missing a mailing address for? It breaks it down really easy for you. So same thing, phone number is empty, apply, it's probably going to be the same list, but then it's going to have that list of contacts filtered out for me. One really nice thing about Command is that you can create what's called a smart view. So I mentioned smart views a little bit in the beginning when I was customizing the columns and upping the amount of contacts that I'm seeing in that list. But let's just say you have this filter on and you know that you're going to come back to the same filter. Maybe it's weekly, maybe it's monthly, maybe it's just as you're working through your database and updating contact information. But you'll see I have this filter on. So, and then I have this button over here that says Create Smart View. So what I can do is click on that, and then I can give it a name. So I could say something like missing phone number. I do have the option to set it as a default. For this one, I'm not going to do that. I don't think that makes sense. And then I can save the Smart View. So essentially, anytime I'm logging out of Command, I log back in, and I want to continue on with updating my database and updating phone numbers for my contacts. So I'm back at my default Smart View, which is all contacts. But here's this drop-down menu. I can click that, and here's my missing phone number Smart View. So I can click that, and instead of having to filter and click multiple times into getting who am I missing a phone number for, I have that Smart View created. And I'm just clicking that drop down, selecting that Smart View, and here we go. Here's that same filters on. Here's my list of who I'm missing a phone number for. So that's how you can create the Smart View.
Wait a minute, Lindsay,
Yeah.
hold on, I
Yeah.
was gonna do that with you. So it was filters,
Yeah.
and I chose my filter. I actually just chose myself as the assignee.
Okay.
So I can just see my people, and then
Mhm.
I'm supposed to hit create smart view.
Yep. Yeah. So you hit create
Oh, there it is.
view,
Okay, and then I
and then
can
you
name
can
it.
name it. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah, and then it's going to show up in this drop-down menu. And you can see I've created a lot of different smart views over the years. So just a couple examples. I've done plenty based on tags. If I'm missing an email, but they have a phone number. Um, yeah, that's not going to work because I archived a bunch of people recently. Um, so just a few other ones. And then, yeah, birthdays in the next 30 days. So I'll just kind of show you that as well. I know Command automatically will tell you who has a birthday in the next 30 days. But if you want to get ahead of that a little bit more, maybe you send out birthday cards and you want to plan for that. If you, here, let me just, okay. Get back to my basic filters here. So again, if I am, go back to all contacts, click on filters, So I don't have to click advanced for this one because if I go to birthday, I can do within the next, and I'm going to put 60 days instead of 30. So I just want to plan ahead. I want to see how many birthday cards I have to order. And I want to write those up so that I have them ready to go the moment I get that notification that it's their birthday. So I'm going to do birthday within the next 60 days, hit apply. And again, I can hit create smart view. So instead of birthdays in the next 30 days, I can do birthdays in next 60 days. Save smart view. So then I have that list. And again, if I go log out of command, I go back into my contacts, I have that smart view saved. Birthday, where did it go? Here, birthdays in the next 60 days. Boom, there we go. And now I have my list. And maybe you have the birthday column in there. So maybe I want to make it even easier for myself. I'm going to move that to the top, hit apply. I'm going to save smart view changes. So again, that's all part of my smart view. So if I click back to all contacts, you'll notice that my columns changed. And again, if I click to birthdays in the next 60 days, I've got that birth date column front and center for me to see. So that I can look at these and say, okay, I'm writing out my birthday card to Pam. Her birthday is October 29th. I know when I need to send that out. Does that make sense? Any questions,
Yes.
sir? Okay. All right. Perfect. All right. So on to tags. So tagging your database is, I think, one of the most important things that you can do when you want to systemize your communication. Tags are going to help you if you need to communicate out to certain people a certain way. Tags are just meant to give you information, make it easier to find that information, and it should indicate how are you marketing to them. And again, just creating those systems. So tagging can be buyer, seller, it can be past client, or it could be sphere of influence. And maybe you just have a few tags, and one of them is sphere of influence. And if they're tagged with sphere of influence or sphere or SOI, however you want to name that tag, you look at that contact, you see that sphere tag, you know they are getting your monthly newsletter. They are set up on that monthly neighborhood nurture. And they're getting invited to all of your client events. And maybe they get invited to get a pie during Thanksgiving. Like looking at that tag should then indicate all of those things for you. And you could have that set up whichever way. So kind of keep that in mind as you are tagging your database, is that that tag needs to have a purpose. Like you don't need to tag them with, buyer 2022 if you're not really doing anything based off that tag, if that makes sense.
Yes, I have a lot of those meaningless tags, and that's actually what I wanted. That was going to be part of my database cleanup, like remove
Okay.
all of this stuff. It was when I started, and I was
Yeah.
just
Oh,
doing
yeah.
all this
I think
stuff,
we all kind of had like, we just tagged like everything. Um,
and now it's
and
just
so
confusing.
Yeah. And one of the nice things, and I think Keller Williams recognized that. So one of the nice things that they added, not recently, but maybe in the last year or so, is if you go through your database and you're, checking off contacts here or, going through that, under actions, there is actually now a remove tags bulk action.
Oh my
So when you
goodness.
click that, it's going to recognize any of the tags that you have selected or like associated with those contacts you selected. So I could choose that and I can remove selected.
So that was in bulk action. Okay.
Hmm. Yeah. So then I just removed that tag from 18 contacts.
And then you can fully take it out the system too, then, which is nice.
Yeah, and so once you or remove tags from those contacts, and if you really wanted to clean it up even more, you should be able to, if I click my name and go to settings, and I want to go to command settings and contacts, I've got contact tags,
Mhm.
and I can search for that tag that I just removed. And if I wanted to delete it, I could delete it out of my system completely.
Awesome. I could log off now, but I'm not. I'm gonna come. I might learn some more stuff, but that's what I needed to do to
Oh,
help me
good,
clean
good.
it
I'm
up.
glad. Yeah, and within your settings here, you'll see all of the tags that you have created. You will notice it's either created by your name or it's created by the system. Those system tags, you'll notice you cannot edit or remove,
Mhm.
just the ones that you've created. All right. And same thing with bulk removing tags, you can bulk add tags. So if I wanted to go back and maybe I accidentally deleted that tag, I'm like, nope, I'm going to add that back. I'm going to go through and I'm going to add that tag again. Just trying to find our leadership team. And then I can do actions and then add tags. And I can add that tag again. Or I can create a new tag. Leadership 2024. If you want to rename that or create a new tag. Um, but there we go. So I can create tag. Oops, cancel. Doesn't like that because I already have it created.
Oh, wait a minute now. Wait a minute. Go. Wait. Where's that again?
Yeah.
Where do you
So
do the bulk tag? Oh, I have to find people first.
yep. Yep.
Oh,
You have
there
to
it
check.
is.
You have to
Okay.
check off people first,
To
and then
get
you
the
have that
actions.
action,
Okay.
add tags. Yep. And there you go.
Got
So now I kind of wanted to move into the DTD2 because it has a lot to do with tagging and smart views and all of that. So basically, the DTD2 is doing the database too. So it's 2 letters at a time. I'm going to pull this up here. So this is the DTD2 schedule for 2024. And it just lists out the dates and then the groups. So the first group right here, A and W, you're basically going to go through and you're going to tag your database with A and W. You don't have to tag it. Like if you are doing the DTD2, you don't necessarily have to tag your database. There's a couple different ways that you can go about finding any names in your database with the last name of A or W. So let's just say, I'm doing the DTD2 system. And I'm going to look at the specific date here. So I'm going to go off of this. So October 7th, this week is on B and E. So I would go into my database, and if I click on name, I can choose to filter this by either first name, A through Z, or Z through A, or last name, A through Z, or Z through A. So me personally, I prefer to do it by last name. So I would do last name A through Z, and then that way I've got that list. And I could just go in here and just kind of start calling my database this way. However, I think it's easier. I like, in my mind, having more of a saved set list for this DTD2 schedule. So again, B's and E's is what I would be on this week. And I personally like to tag them. So I would go in and I'm going to tag all my B's. And then I would find my E's, which I don't think I have any. And what I'm going to do, since I have them selected, I'm going to do actions, add tags, and I probably have a B and E, yep, tag. and you can name this whatever you want. You can do it DTD2, B and E, or just B and E, whatever you want to do. So I'm going to submit that. And then I'm going to take it one step further. So I'm going to filter by the tag that I just created. There's that B and E. I'm going to apply. Here we go. I'm going to create a smart view. B and E. DTD2. I'm going to save that. So that way, when I'm looking at this schedule and I see B and E is who I need to call this week, I can easily just go into command. I'm logging in, go to my contacts, and I can view my smart views, and I'm going to choose B and E. And here's my list. The nice thing too about this is that if you're making your calls strictly off of your command app, you can just pull up the smart view on your app. You don't have to fiddle with filtering or anything like that. So I think it just makes it a lot more organized and streamlined when you are going through this system.
I have a
So
question, Lindsay, with
yeah.
that. So, this is your B and E list that you've
Mhm.
created today.
Yeah.
Let's say tomorrow you add new people to your contact list and you give them that B and E tag.
Yeah.
When you go back in next month to do your B and E's, will that B and E tag automatically be added to this
To the smart view?
the
Yes.
smart view?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's filtering by that tag. So as long as that contact's in your database and then you've tagged them with B and E, then the Smart View knows to include them in this Smart View list because
Okay.
it's filtered by that tag.
Okay.
Good question. Yeah, okay. So the so any questions there on the DTD2? And you would just go through this whole schedule if you're going to implement that. And you're going to create A and W, D and O, H and V. So you're going to create each of those tags, and then you can create those smart views so that you have them all set up and ready to go. I think I must have only created A and W and B and E at one point. But there they are. And they're just in there for you. All right. So then a couple more things. I'm just check the time here. Oh, we got plenty of time. Okay. So one other thing that's really nice within Command when you are cleaning up your database is merging duplicate contacts. So let me just get back, clear all. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to all. So the easiest way to recognize duplicate contacts is actually going into your settings. So when you click your name again and click on settings and command settings in contacts, there's actually a database cleanup button right here. So you click on that and you may have to click this check for duplicates, but then once you do, you should have this list of all of your duplicate contacts. And so it's going to show me, okay, the contact, the duplicate contact, the date found. So what I can do is hit merge. And I should circle back a little bit further here. So contacts in command is going to recognize a duplicate contact based on the primary email and phone number. So what I have here is I have one contact and I have his phone number and I have his email. And then I have a duplicate contact. It's the same person, but I just have their name and I have their mailing address. So the system didn't recognize that duplicate contact because technically there were no duplicate phone numbers or email addresses. So that's how the system duplicated it or allowed me to import or add another of the same contact. So what I can do is hit merge. And a couple of things to keep in mind too when you're doing this is it's always going to recommend that you keep any contacts that are tied to an opportunity, set up on a saved search within your consumer app, um, or a part of any smart plans. And it'll indicate that too here on this screen. But this one's pretty simple and straightforward. I have one contact with a email and phone number and one contact just with an address. I can hit show more just to show me all of that information here. But what I can do is it's just going to ask me to select the primary contact to keep. So I'm going to select this one, and it's just going to merge all of this information over to this one. So basically it's going to add in the address to this contact here, which is great. So I'm going to hit continue. It's going to have me review, which that all looks good. And then I'm going to hit merge and delete the duplicate. And there we go. So now I don't have any duplicates. I'm good to go. But again, if you go back on the screen and hit check for duplicates, it'll refresh and it'll show you if there are any. I can also view my merge history. So here's my merge history. I can see the contact, the duplicate contact, details, all of that. So I do have that history to review at any point. The other thing too, so just some kind of basics here. So if I go back into contacts, and if you ever need to archive or delete contacts, you can either do it from the contact detail page, or I can select whichever contacts I need to archive. Actions, archive. I'm just going to do these two. So I'm going to archive them. Archive. So that removes them from my contacts screen here. But let's just say I wanted to re-add them. If I tried to do that right now, it would say I have that contact already in command because they're still showing up in my settings. So the way that it works, again, I'm going to go into my settings. Once you archive a contact, you want to permanently delete them out. So then, again, I'm going to go into command settings, go into contacts, and then there's this contact archive. So that's going to show me any contacts that I have archived. It's kind of like that safety net. So if I wanted to restore a contact or if I wanted to permanently delete out a contact, I would do that in here. I can also bulk, show up to 50, and then restore selected or delete selected. So again, it has that safety net in your settings. If you accidentally ever archive a contact, just know that it's not completely out of the system yet. It has to be permanently deleted through here. All right. So I'm going to wrap up just with a couple of smart plans. So the DTD2 system is one way to systemize your communication with your database. Another way is within smart plans. And kind of very similar to the DTD2. And it's a little just more of a random approach to who you call. Command has a quarterly smart plan, a quarterly call smart plan, I should say. So when you go into your smart plans and you click into the library, you'll see featured, you'll see Keller Williams, you'll see top rated. You're going to go to Keller Williams. I always call these our original 10 smart plans. And you'll see the quarterly call plan. It'll say allows you to be reminded quarterly to reach out to your contacts while logging notes for these interactions. So if you wanted to add that, you would click on Add Smart Plan. And then you would click on Download. I've already downloaded this. This is why it's grayed out for me. But then it's going to show up in my Smart Plans library, and I just have a few in here, so I'd have to search for it to see it. But once you have it added, you're really going to navigate back to your contacts, And if you wanted to just add everybody to the smart plan, I'm going to select that first checkbox. That's going to select everybody for me. And then I have this actions drop down menu again, and I can click on add to smart plan. Now I'm going to search for that quarterly call. Here's the quarterly call plan. I would select that. It's going to tell me anyone I'm missing a phone number for. So the system kind of automatically filters out the contacts that I don't have the information for, and I can click remove contacts with errors. Now it's going to show me I've got 8 contacts that I have the phone number for. I can either start it now, and for any call plan, I'm just going to get those task notifications. Nothing's going to automatically call them for me, but it's all task based. And best practice with this one is that you're starting, or sorry, I should say, you're staggering them. So this is going to allow you, like, let's just say you have 300 contacts that you have phone numbers for. You don't want to get 300 task notifications at once to call 300 people. You want to stagger this out. So if you're like, okay, I just want to call 10 people a day, I'm going to choose, I'm going to up this to 10 because I only have 8. It's only going to allow me to do 8. So then I'm going to set that number. I'm going to, yes, I read the TCPA disclaimer, and then you're going to confirm. So now that I added those contacts to my quarterly call plan, I'm going to see some tasks in here. So I've got a few already in here, and it may start tomorrow. So I'm going to go back into my tasks. And the nice thing with this, though, is that this is tied into my command app as well. And I can manage these and view these through my command app. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so this is actually going to start tomorrow, October 11th. So when you do that staggered start, the first few are going to start the following day. So then I can
So
see,
every day it'll give you 10 new or whatever number you
yeah,
choose. It'll give you that many new tasks.
yes, exactly. Yep. Because I only have 8 contacts on this and I set 8 for my who to call and how many. That's why I'm seeing all 8 due tomorrow.
And then that just keeps restarting every
Mhm.
quarter.
Every quarter. Yep. Yeah. And so the nice thing is you can either go through and manage it by, pulling up your laptop, your computer, and, running down this list to call them. But I think it's really easy too. Through the command app, you'll have these tasks on there, and then you can just click to call them from your app. The nice thing with that, the moment you hang up, it'll ask you to log that interaction. So it's really going to prompt you or force you to say yes, and then add your notes. What did you talk about? Did you leave a voicemail? What did you say in that voicemail? All so that you can add those notes and those activities to that contacts detail page for you to refer back to. Does that make sense?
It does. I was just looking at my app. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
see
I always bring up
tasks.
like my name. And if you wanted to click on, like, call yourself, hang up, and then you're going to see that message saying, would you like to log this interaction? And then you can say yes, and then you can add your notes.
Okay. Yeah, that I have done. I just I didn't realize. I guess I never paid attention to it when I opened the app. I didn't realize that I could see my tasks because I actually open up my computer, look at the task, hit it, and then I call from my phone. So I guess I'd be doing a little bit of extra because I didn't know.
And I
And
think it's personal preference too, like how you want to kind of go about your calls. But I just like to tell people that, like, hey, this might be easier for you, just literally doing everything through the command app. Um, and then you get those task notifications. And I don't know if you can see this very well, but here are the tasks that
yeah,
I'm
I found them. I see. I'm like, oh, well, look
so
at that.
I can just hit call. for each one of these. I can hit call
Okay.
directly from my phone and then do it all from there.
Awesome.
Really, really easy and simplified way to do that.
Yeah, that takes out a step for me now that that's been um drawn to my attention.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's everything that I wanted to cover today. Does anyone have any other questions?
Well, that was good. I'm glad I came on because I've been really trying to clean up my database for the past 2 years, but it takes so long. But it's
Yeah.
because I didn't know how to do it the easy way, do the
Mhm.
bulk and find the
Yeah.
new tag and just do all that. So I should be able to have this cleaned up by the end of the year now that
Yeah.
I have an
Yeah.
easier way of doing it. So thank
Yeah.
you.
And don't think of cleaning up your database as a chore. Like I always tell people, it's an opportunity for you to reach out to them. It kind of forces you to do that.
Mhm.
Whether you're missing contact information or you need to update their primary address. It's an opportunity for you to build your database and make it even more productive and work for you.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the goal.
yeah, exactly. All right. Well, thanks for jumping on. It's always recorded and uploaded. Hopefully, YouTube doesn't flag me and delete this one again. So,
Well, I'm
fingers.
glad I was on it. So thank you, Lindsay.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Bye bye.